Alright, the first section is pretty much self-explanatory. First two buttons here, undo and redo. See, I've got an image here and I make it really big. And I'm like, oh, it's not what I wanted. I can either put it back, or if I want to do the exact same size, I hit undo and it goes back to where it was before. I change my mind again, say, oh no, wait, I want it to the other side. I do redo and it puts it back. So that's what it lets you do. It will let you undo multiple steps. So I went small to large, upside down, and now I want to do it. I can go back multiple steps. Alright, the next section is array creation. We're going to come over here, click on rectangle, draw us a square on the board. And there's a square with the shape highlighted. You come up here to array and you click on array creation. A menu pops up. How many columns do you want? How many rows do you want? And how much space do you want between them? So we're just going to do 2 by 2 by default. And if you look, it kind of gives you a preview. So if we were going to do 3 by 3, it gives you a preview there while you're doing it. If you hit confirm, now instead of the one square that you had, you have a bunch of them. Okay, that's how you multiply the screen to get multiples of the same item. Alright, we're going to get rid of that portion of the array. The next one, if you have a shape here and you click on array centric creation, another menu will pop up and you see the preview here. But what it's doing is it is giving you the same thing over and over again, and it's rotating it. It lets you start at a certain angle, end at a certain angle, how many copies you want, the intervals. But like I say, everything on it here previews as you do it. So that's how you can do that. You can do it as a non-rotate, which is going to stick them all in there together, all on top of each other. Alright, and then the last one, we're going to make a small square. With it highlighted, we're going to click on Array and Material Testing Array. And that pops another menu. It says maximum power, maximum speed, minimum, how many columns you want, how many rows you want, how much space you want between them. But what this is, I'm going to hit confirm here, is this is what you print on your material to test the areas on it. It all comes in one piece. You can break it apart by hitting ungroup. But as you see, this first square here, it's printing at 10 power, 600 speed. Each one of these squares is different. So the last one on the thing is printing at 100 power, 10 speed. So you're going from lighter to darker at the different speeds and everything. And that's how you figure out what power settings you're going to use on your engraver. Test trays are very nice to have. Alright, the next section up is offset. Here I have a picture of a cat, and if I send this to the laser now, it's going to go back and forth, and I'm going to have a black cat on a piece of wood. And let's say I don't want the whole piece of wood, I want that cat to be cut out. How do I do that? Using offset. I come up here, I click on offset, and if you notice around the cat, a line will appear. Alright. First thing on the drop down menu here is distance. I can increase or decrease the amount of space between the cat and the cut line by adjusting that number. Or I can use the slide. make it more, make it less. Okay. I like having a little bit of space in between them, so that's the way I'm going to do. So if I want just a little bit of space, I'm going to hit offset. I'll leave it at 0.79. That gives you just a little bit of white there. If it's square, you can round your corners, square your corners, and you can retain contours within the bitmap by clicking on this button here. But I just by default do that. Hit confirm. Now another thing that you might want to do while you're doing this is highlight both of them and group them together. That way when you go to move one of them, they don't separate. If you don't do that, I go to move one of them and it separates out. But you can do that if, say, you want the cutout up shape of a cat, but you don't want the interior engraving of the cat. You can do your contours, move the cat off to the side, delete it. Now you print this off, you have the shape cut out in wood without everything else in the middle of it. This is nice for if you make personalized things, you know, put cat's name or, you know, whatever. That's one way to do it. Alright, moving on. The next place up is group and ungroup. As you see right now, neither one of them are highlighted because they only have one image. You can't group one. Let's say I move these cats in close together and set them up how I want them, and that's the way I want to print them. If I highlight all of them and group them, now whenever I move one, I move them all. It's nice for arranging stuff around the screen. And they'll stay grouped together until I come back up here and hit ungroup. Once I hit ungroup, they've all become separate again. And I can move them around separately. And that's how we do it. Alright, the next item up is Smart Fill. Here I've got a word on a piece of board and I've got identical boards below it. When the first one's set up, I hit Smart Fill and it'll put it on the second one. And in theory, it should do the rest of them, but I've not had much luck with it doing it. If you know tricks on how to get it to work better, please put it in comments for everybody to see. But as of this version, at this time, when I try to use it, I have very limited success. Alright, the next one up is Align. I have nothing selected, so it's grayed out. If I select two or more items, so here I've got two cats, now you see Align becomes active, and there's all these different settings below it. So here I've got two cats. I want them to line up on one side. I hit Align. I do left align, and the left side of both of these objects will line up next to each other, just like that. Move them apart. Now I highlight them again. If I hit Align, I can center them horizontally. In case they were two different kind of objects, but you wanted them centered horizontally, you can click that. Right align will align the right. Top align, click it there here. The tops become aligned with each other. If I have them highlighted, I can come down here, bottom align, horizontal distribution if you get three or more objects. Here I've got three objects. I want it to start here, and I want it to end here, and somewhere equally in the middle I want that one. I select all three of them, align, horizontal distribution. It will align them up properly. Vertical position would do the same thing, do it vertically. It just distributes them out in equal proportion in whichever way you want to do it. Okay, so now it's still lined up, the top line, and there they are evenly spaced. Next up is the merge button, and what that does is several different things. If you have two or more items, I'm just going to click on these two shapes, and you click on merge, there comes a drop down item. Merge graphic shapes, subtract, merge overlapping shapes, and subtract overlapping shapes. If I have this circle and this square, and I want them to become one, I put them next to each other where I want them, highlight it, and then merge graphic shapes. The first one puts the two of them together, and now that has become one shape. Okay, we undo that. Okay, now I overlap them again, highlight both of them, and if I go merge, subtract, it's going to subtract all the material that overlapped. Just like that. The next one, put them over each other, highlight them both, merge overlapping shapes. Now what it's going to do is it's going to subtract everything except for what's on top of each other. Alright, and the final one, I use this one a lot. I'm going to take the cat, put it on top of here. Now if I highlight them both, I do merge, subtract overlapping shapes. The cat disappears. Now this has become a square with the cat on the inside of it. It's fun to play around with. Once you get the hang of it, it comes in very handy. Okay, now with split, I take two shapes, put them next to each other, and if I merge them by subtracting the overlapping shapes, this is what I come up with. But if I hit split, it puts the piece back that it cut out, and I can move it, and that's the piece that it cut out. So the piece that was here is this piece here. When I hit split, it cut it out, so now I have it to work with. Alright, the next section is the position box, and you see there's two boxes inside that box. One says X, one says Y. That's the position of your image on the screen. As you see, if I come over here towards the start of it, the numbers are low. And I come to the other end of it, the numbers are high. So this corner right here would be 0, 0. And there's marks at the top here, so this is 50, 0, 100, 0, and down here would be 100, 200. And what it picks is the corner of your image. But that gives you a way to position it around the screen, tells you where you're at. The next section is a square box, and it's got a W and H, and that is width and height. The scale is the size of your object. As you see, if I grab the corner and drag it and make it bigger, those numbers change. But you can also say I want this to be a specific size. I can hit the W and type in the number that I want, and it will automatically scale it to that size. Right now it's keeping it in proportion. If you don't care about proportion and you just want it a specific size, you can hit the unlock key here. So I can make it 100 by 100, which in this particular case just makes it look funny, but if you're doing a square or a circle or something like that and you need it to be the exact same size, and it's not originally, you can do that. But if you um, leave that lock back where it was, it'll move it in proportion. Okay, the next thing up is this last box says rotate. Goes across the screen. Right now, I've got this bird on the screen, and if we want to rotate that, when you click on the item, there's a box that shows up around it. Making it larger and smaller, you can click on a corner and drag it. But in the middle on top, there's a box that's away from everything else. If you click on that box, hold it, and spin it, that'll rotate the image. That's fine for gross, big movements, but if you just need to move it a little bit on this box up here that says rotate, you can punch in a number there. Say I'm going to do 3, and you see the bird moves. Backspace. If I move it 5 degrees, I'll put a 5 in there, and it'll move 5 degrees. That's for fine movements or known angles. The next one up next to it is the mirror horizontal. So I click on that, and it will horizontally flip the image back and forth. The one next to it is vertical mirror. I click on it, verticals it up and down. The one with the 2 blocks and an arrow, that's 90 degrees at a time, it spins it. That's how you get it. The next thing is where the numbers are. If you hover over it, a bunch of numbers show up, and that is your screen resolution. So right now it's at 116 is what it says there. If I go down here, scroll down and click on 50, now it's at 50%. Click on it again, I can come back, do whatever size I want. On that note, if you have a scroll wheel on your mouse, you can just scroll the mouse wheel and it will enlarge and delete. The next button up is the arrow. With the arrow selected here at the top, you can click on your image, move the image, and the screen itself stays where it's at. It won't move. If you go to the hand next to it, click on the hand and bring it over to the screen, you won't move the image, you'll move the whole screen. That comes in handy for alignment. The next one, it says laser flat. If you click on the down arrow to it, there's laser flat, which is normal work, laser cylindrical, which is on your rotary, and auto pass-through, which is the pass-through device that goes on the bottom of your machine. And that completes this segment on the top line.